These are our metric conversion notes. So similar to the customary system, we're going to now convert between measurements. Luckily for you, the metric system is a little simpler because it is all the powers of 10. So you don't have to memorize 3 feet and 1 yard and then 12 inches and 1 foot. All of these are going to be a power of 10. So 1, 100, 1,000, 1/10, 1/1000th. They're all powers of 10. And there are actually 2 ways to do your metric conversions, and I'm going to show you both in this video. So you pick which one works best for you. The important thing in the metric system is that it's made up of base units. So everything is based off of the base units. That's how they get their name. So for the base units, we have meters, which measure length or distance. And meters are always abbreviated as a single letter M. Then we have liters, and these are measures of volume or capacity, and it's abbreviated as the letter L. And then we have grams, abbreviated as a single letter G, and those measure mass or the amount of matter. So the first method you can use for your metric conversions is the ladder method. So again, everything is right here based off the base units. So under here you have your meters, liters, and grams. Everything's going to go back to those. So I'm going to start at the far left of our ladder, or with the biggest of the metric system. And all of these start with this prefix kilo. So you have a kiloliter, kilogram, and a kilometer. So what that means is there are 1,000 liters in a kiloliter, or 1,000 meters in a kilometer. So sounds the biggest because it is. The next step down is hecto. So hectoliter, hectogram, hectometer. And that means there are now 100 grams in a hectometer, or 100 liters in a hectoliter. Then we have deca. This is capital letter D. Decameter. I messed that up. Decaliter. And so on. From here, after the base units, so again, these are bases or units of 1, we're now getting less than 1. So this is a deci, so decimeter, deciliter. Okay, this should sound familiar, like a decimal. It's going behind 1. Then we have centi, and this should be familiar because most of you are aware of centimeters. But you could also have centigrams or centiliters. And the smallest of them is millimeters, milligrams, and milliliters. So those are 1/1000th of a meter, or 1/1000th of a liter. So this ladder method, how it works is you can see the boxes are kind of set up like steps or like a ladder, and that's exactly how we're going to use it. A way to remember the order of these prefixes is this very silly phrase of King Henry died by drinking chocolate milk. So if you remember the silly phrase, K goes with kilo, H goes with hecto, the first letter D goes with deca, bi are our base units, and then deci and centi and milli. So it's a silly phrase to help you remember the order of the prefixes. Filling in the rest of the information around this ladder. It says to convert to a larger unit. So we're going to move the decimal point to the left or divide. So that means as you move to the left on the ladder, so if you go from the base units up to kilo, you're getting bigger, so you're moving left or dividing. Opposite of that, to convert to a smaller unit, you're going to move the decimal point to the right or multiply. So they're going to be more millimeters in a meter than if you only had a meter. If you don't like this latter method and you got really good at the proportions from, I guess, all of our previous lessons over ratios, then you can continue to use your star chart and set up the proportions. Sometimes that relationship isn't on your star chart, so we kind of just want you to have both options so that you're able to solve all of the questions. So to start our practice, we are going to use this ladder method. So how to use the ladder? You're going to start at the unit you are given. And then you're going to count the hops to the unit you're converting to. And then you're going to move that decimal point the same number of jumps in the same direction. So if you move to the left, you have to move the decimal to the left. You move to the right, you move the decimal to the right. So what we have to know, we always have to start with this: King Henry died by drinking chocolate milk. So right here, we're starting with 1,000 milligrams. So milli goes with the M down here. Then we're trying to get it to grams. So when there's the single letter, that means we're trying to get it over here to the base unit. So we're going to move the decimal point 1, 2, 3 spaces to the left. Now, if you're looking here at 1,000, there's not a decimal point. So when I say we're moving the decimal, where does the decimal even start? Every number has decimal 0 behind it if it doesn't start with 1. So we're going to start at this decimal point and moving it 1, 2, 3 hops to the left. So 1,000 milligrams is the same as 1 gram. Same thing. You always start with the phrase King Henry died by drinking chocolate milk. In this problem, we're starting with centimeters. So that's the C for centi. And we're trying to get to millimeters. So here you have 2 M's. So that's this milli on the end. If it was a single M, it would be the base unit, but it's not that. So we're moving from centi to milli. So we're moving 1 jump to the right. So again, this is 160.0. We're moving the decimal 1 space to the right. So that means there are 1,600 millimeters in 160 centimeters. Again, King Henry died by drinking chocolate milk. In this problem, we are starting with grams. So that's a 1-letter abbreviation. So that means grams has to be a base unit. This base unit is going all the way up to kilograms. So we're moving 1, 2, 3 spaces to the left. So again, this is 109.0. If we move 3 spaces left, we go 1, 2, 3. And now we have 0.109. No, you don't have to have that lead 0, but it is a more organized way of writing. Okay, if you're not feeling the ladder method, again, you can still use your star chart. Okay, so on your star chart, it tells you that 1 liter equals 1,000 milliliters. So the math here would be to turn a 1 into 1,000. We got bigger. We're going to multiply by 1,000. Whatever you do to the bottom, you do to the top. So you get 1,200 milliliters. For the next question, you have 1 kilometer equals 1,000 meters. Again, this is on your star chart, so you just have to read it. So if we go 1 to 1,000, we got bigger, so we're multiplying by 1,000. Whatever you do to the bottom, you do to the top. to get a whopping 14,000 meters. And the last practice problem that we are converting millimeters to meters. So your star chart says there are 1,000 millimeters in 1 meter. So this time we're going from a big number to a small number, so we have to divide by 1,000. And whatever I do to the bottom, I do to the top. So this gives you 0.250 thousandths of a meter. In this problem, you don't need, I guess in this last example, you don't need that lead zero or the end zero. My advice, though, would be to always leave this zero here if you start with it. So if you go back and check your answers, you don't think you made a mistake. The second page is a bunch of practice, so I want you to try that on your own, and then you can just check your answers with the answer key in Canvas. Big reminders here with the metric system. The numbers should match from the starting to the ending. So I guess to clarify what I mean there is if we look at this example right here of 160, your answer still has to have a 1, a 6, and a 0 in it. So the numbers aren't changing. The only thing that's changing is the place value of those numbers. So that's a quick way to check, did you at least think about the problem correctly?